Hello, Peter Mayers here with Perspective. 40 years ago today, after months of conflict between students and authorities, the University of Paris was shut down. The 1968 revolution had begun, and it spread even to Australia. So what was it like then, and how is it now? From Canberra, Barry York.
The year 1968 was a revolutionary moment. That's what I felt back then as a scrawny 17-year-old Brunswick boy in his final year of high school, and that's what I think now as a paunchy, balding, ponytailed historian. Revolution was in the air. Seriously. The political rebellion was sparked in Australia by conscription for the Vietnam War, but it was also part of a spectacular worldwide movement. From Poland to Mexico to Vietnam and South Africa, oppressed peoples were rising up, defying authority, demanding greater freedom. The left, united internationally, was challenging the capitalist system, even in relatively affluent democracies like the UK, USA and France. 1968 was a high tide for the left. My comrades and I genuinely believed that a revolution would happen and that capitalism would be overthrown by an alliance of workers and students. I leapt into this struggle, was recruited into the Communist Party of Australia, and within a few years I'd been arrested several times, suspended from university, and jailed at Pentridge with two others for contempt of court. The revolution did not happen, but it was both fun and right to give the reactionaries a hard time. We helped move society forward from where it was to where it now is. 40 years on, I wonder, where did the spirit and content of the left go? I quit the Communist Party and drifted along through the 1980s, identifying with whatever seemed to be a left-wing position. I uncritically went along with anti-Americanism and the environmental movement. Like many others of the class of 1968, I wanted my life to make a difference. But in abandoning critical reflexivity and theory, I reckon I lost the plot. Back in 68, we were all Marxists of various types. I still like Jean-Luc Godard's observation that we were the children of Karl Marx and Coca-Cola. Godard was right. The 1960s Cultural Revolution was a product of a permissive consumerism brought about by industrial capitalism. Marxism gave the left an effective theory for understanding the processes of change in society, and on the basis of that understanding, bringing about the overthrow of humanity's final form of slavery, wage slavery, and to replace the rule of the capitalists with the rule of the workers. John Lennon's song of 1971, Power to the People, resonated with those of us who saw things in that way. Today, what passes for the left openly opposes progress. This pseudo-left has nothing in common with the 60s spirit, and no social base outside government-funded institutions of propaganda. Its role is to make the right appear less ignorant and to complain about the weather. Back in 68, environmentalism and nature worship, notions of a balance in nature, properly belonged to the right. It was only when the right retreated and the left hibernated that such reactionary conservative ideas, with their antecedents in romanticism and fascism, were taken up by people claiming to be left-wing. A vacuum is always filled. If there's a practical legacy of 1968 that I'd like to see revived, it's the teach-in. Teach-ins were forums for people to get together, usually on campuses, to hear the best of opposing points of view based on informed, evidence-based debate. It was through teach-ins featuring opponents like Dr. Jim Cairns and Frank Knoffelmacher that many of us came to support the National Liberation Front in Vietnam. By contrast, the pseudo-left has no need for investigation or debate. It's quasi-religious, with a formula into which the events of the world are slotted. Thus, when the US goes to war to topple the fascist dictator, Saddam Hussein, it can only be an act of imperialist aggression designed to grab Iraq's oil. We need a revival of the left, one that supports progress, can analyse reality, understands Marxism, and is imbued with the rebellious spirit of '68. Power to the people.
Barry York with today's Perspective. Around Australia, you're on ABC Radio National, and right now, it's news time.